Hello everyone, thank you for joining in today for yoga class. Today is going to be all about balance and moving through several standing postures and movements that are going to help us find stability, muscular engagement, endurance, confidence, and of course balancing and flexibility. So this is a series of postures that you can really do anywhere. Some of you that might have some trouble with balance might want to have a chair in front of you, or you might want to have a wall space available close enough to where your mat is so that if you need support, you can grab on and feel that support. Otherwise, you can practice in the open space. And starting to come into this practice, separate your feet hip distance. Now, I know you're thinking hip distance are the outer parts of your hips. Find those bony bits at the front of the hips, those hip points, like headlights on the car, and then position your feet underneath that so that when you look down at your feet, there's enough space for one more foot to fit there. Now we want to let ourselves transition into this practice. We want to let go of anything that we're carrying around. We know that in this time, there's a lot of stress, a lot of uncertainty. And so balance is another way where you can get back to yourself. So we'll just shake out the shoulders, feel a firm foundation at the soles of the feet. Pick up the toes, spread the toes wide, and then place the toes back down on the mat. Now you've created space between the toes, just like we do with our hands when we have our hands on the mat. From here, we'll lift the shoulders up to the ears, and as we exhale, we'll take the shoulders back and down. Let's do that 2 more times. And this next and last time that we do it, as we send the shoulders back and down, we just let the shoulders float away from the ears. Come back to the sensation at our feet, feeling rooted and grounded down. Now we're going to challenge ourselves by shifting weight into the toes and lifting the heels. Notice how this feels the higher you lift your heels. That's all you need to focus on doing right now. You'll feel the engagement at the quads and at the calf muscles. So we're building strength already in our practice today. Now, if you're feeling really wobbly, that's okay. Just lower your heels a little more. Lower your heels as much as you need to without actually touching the mat, and just find where that sweet spot is for you. Now, if you feel really secure with your heels lifted as high as you can, let your arms float up, fingertips towards the ceiling, and notice how that feels in your body now. Notice how that shifts your balance. And then notice all the parts of your body that are working to keep this engagement in this pose. You might even feel the glutes fire up. Now, whether your arms are lifted or not, we're going to move in this standing mountain pose modified position. So let's take an inhale breath with our heels lifted. And as we exhale, let's lower the heels without touching the mat. And then again, inhale, lift the heels. Remember, your arms can come down if you need. Exhale, lower the heels towards the mat without touching. Inhale, lift the heels again. Feel those glutes firing up. Exhale, lower heels towards the mat. Just a couple more. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, lower the heels down, and let's take one more. This last round, notice as you move with your breath if you feel one glute working more than the other. All right, let's set those heels down. Maybe just shake out one leg at a time. Release any tension that you might have created there. And we'll come into our next standing posture with movement. So this is going to be lifting the knees, and we're going to do one side at a time. So if you shook out your legs and let yourself move around a little bit, look and make sure that your feet are back to hip distance. Get re-grounded, root down at the feet, rise up with the crown of the head. Now, starting one side at a time, I recommend bringing your hands to your hips. As you inhale, lift one knee up. Just pause here. Just notice how this feels for your standing leg. Try to get that knee that's lifted in line with the same side hip. Feel the muscles of your foundational foot working. Feel all those parts, keeping that connection down. Now we'll take movement. Remember, you can always come to the wall if you need support in your balance. So let's take an inhale breath with the knee lifted. And then as we exhale, we'll tap it down. And then we inhale, lift. And then we exhale, tap down. And we take 3 more. Moving with our breath. Noticing the hip, how it's working, how this feels in your standing leg. And then this foot comes down. Now shifting the weight to the foot that was just lifted, coming into the other side. Inhale, lift that knee. Give yourself a moment here, a couple rounds of breath just to let yourself get grounded now in the opposite foot. Noticing how it feels to have that foot shifting and moving around to maintain this balance. You're holding your entire body up with just your one foot touching the ground. You're already doing a really great job. Now, starting to invite that movement in, take an inhale breath, and as you exhale, tap it down. And again, inhale, lift, exhale, tap it down. Now, you might be able to see with the movement of my leg, my belly moving and working. This is my core strengthening. You might even feel that in your own body. Let's take one more, and then tap it down. Back to our standing position. That's 2. Before we move on to number 3, let's just separate the feet a little wider. And let's just let the hips move around. Especially if you haven't had very much movement today, just see how that feels. Take it opposite direction. Notice that the more you bring your hips back, the deeper you're going to feel the stretch in the hamstrings. So if that feels really good for your hamstrings, you might want to do this a few more times. And then let yourself come back to a standing position. All right, we're going to explore Warrior 3, and I'm going to give you lots of options. Now remember, if you're working with a chair, you're going to want to have it in front of your hands. If you're working with the wall, you want to be able to take your hands to the wall. I'm going to demonstrate in the free space. So coming into Warrior 2, I recommend starting hands at the hips. And from here, pressing into one foot and then lifting the opposite foot. Now you can start with your toes back, your toes connected to the ground, and then you can see how it feels to float the leg up more. Now as you float the leg up, you'll notice your head and your torso moving down. You might notice your lifted leg, hip stacked a little higher. Take your hands to your hips and see if you can level them off, bringing the hips in line with each other. Now remember, if this is really wobbly and there's a little more engagement that you're ready for in the legs, just leave the toes down. If the toes are down, you can practice inhale, lifting the toes, and then exhale, tapping them down. Let's do that 4 more times. You count with your breath. We've got 3 more. Now, if you're doing these leg lifts, whether the toes are tapping down or not, you'll feel so much engagement in that standing glute. And then let's bring the foot down. All right, so the foot that was just standing, we feel a lot of work that was happening in that hip. Before we come into the other side, let's lift that knee and take some hip circles. Couple more. And then 3 circles opposite direction. Just getting some mobility for the hip. Just working out any kinks there. And then we take these toes back. So now we're coming into our Warrior 3 modified on this side. We know that we can stay with the toes down and simply practice lifting on an inhale and tapping down on an exhale. Now, if you want to go further, and you did on the other side, you'll keep the leg lifted. You'll check to make sure that those hips are in line with each other, and then your movement is to come towards standing without that foot touching, And then take it back to warrior 3. Okay? And then we'll take a few more. Feel the muscles of your standing leg working. Notice all the details in your body. Notice if you're thinking about it so much that you forgot to breathe. And then come out back to standing. Find your breath. And as you start to connect with your breath, go ahead and lift that leg that was just standing. Take 3 circles in this direction. And then 3 circles opposite direction. Just flossing it out. And then that foot comes down. Might be a good time for you to take a drink of water or also catch your breath. So what happens is when we're working with postures where there's a lot of engagement, a lot of thought, some movement incorporated as well, and we're also having this huge element of balance, sometimes we forget to breathe. Because breathing is not something that we're always telling ourselves to do, it just happens naturally. So let's just take a moment to get back to our breath. So feet, hip distance. Let's just bring the arms to our sides. Close your eyes for just a moment. And with the eyes closed, just simply notice if the breath is short. And if the breath is short, that's okay. Just start to find length in that breath. So you're going to take a deep inhale to the top of the breath. And then a slow exhale. Take your time with this breath. There's no rush. And with your eyes closed, on your next inhale, breathe in all the way to the top of the breath. And as you exhale, open your mouth and let it go. Let the eyes flutter open. Coming into our next standing balance. This is number 4. This is going to be tree pose. So for tree pose, let's start with our hands on our hips. Let's take one foot to lift the heel, bring the toes to the mat, bring the arch of your foot to your standing foot. So we might feel already enough balance work happening here. We might practice lifting that knee. Now, if you're taking this option, you'll feel so much more work happening in your standing foot. You might even feel your upper body shifting to one side. All you need to do is just find your center. Give yourself time. It's so important to just pause in your practice and feel all the feels in your body and let that breath assist you. So the leg can be floating. Alternatively, you can take that lifted foot to your calf muscle. Now, it's very, very important that you do not take your foot to your knee, okay? Avoid your foot at your knee. If you feel really great in the standing balance, you might go even deeper. And so that would mean taking your same side hand to your lifted foot, grab onto your ankle, and then position the sole of your foot to your inner thigh. Notice we're in a standing balance, but we're also getting a hip opener. We've got external rotation in our lifted leg, in that hip. Now the hands can stay at the hips, or we can take our hands to our heart center. Now because this is tree pose, we might even let the arms rise up, growing our tree branches. Remember, if you wobble out, it's just a pose. You can come right back into it. This is why we call it a practice, because each time is different. Each day is different, and that has a lot to do with where we are physically, mentally, and emotionally. Now, if your arms are lifted, you might challenge yourself even more by closing your eyes. And if your eyes close, notice how that completely changes your experience. And then open your eyes when you're ready. Let the arms slowly come down. Let the hands find the hips. Disconnect that foot. Inhale, lift the knee up just like we did before. And then exhale, take that foot down. Distribute the weight between both legs. Maybe shift from side to side. And then we'll come into the opposite side. Setting up. Now, coming onto the toes, opposite side. This might be enough for you today. And if that's the case, amazing, stay here. Remember, you've got your wall if you need it for support. All you need on your wall is enough space for one hand to touch, okay? Or two hands if that feels more supportive to you. Or hands on the hips. Now, if we want to practice taking other options, we can start by lifting that knee, letting that foot hover. Feel into that standing foot. Feel that engagement. Notice what a cool sensation it is to be in stillness, but at the same time having so much activation happening in your body. Now we can take that foot to the calf muscle like we did on the other side. Remember, avoid your knee. And we can go even deeper by taking that same side hand, lifting the foot more, reaching for the ankle, connecting the sole of the foot to the inner thigh. Now, know that when you press your foot and your inner thigh towards each other, that's going to help your stability and your balance even more. So keep doing that. Keep pressing foot and thigh together. Keep driving your standing foot down into the ground. You can take your hands from your hips to prayer position. You can grow your tree branches again. You can close your eyes if you want to, if you did that on the other side. Just explore all these options and see which one your body really likes today. And then let yourself enjoy that for a few rounds of breath. Know that at any point, if you need to, you can always switch up your arms. If the eyes were closed, you can open them. And then wherever your hands are, just bring them back to your hips. And then inhale, lift that knee up. Exhale, take it down. Distribute the weight equally between both legs and just let yourself rock from side to side. You might even widen the feet. You might come back to those hip circles. And then back to center. Heel toe the feet. Back under the hips. Let yourself take a water break if you need to. All right, next posture, we're gonna move into balancing star. So look at your feet, we've had them hip distance. Let's open them a little wider, just slightly wider than the hips. Rock forward onto the toes and then back onto the heels. From here, we're gonna lean over to one side, lift the opposite leg. As you lift this leg, flex your foot. And then open your arms out. So you're making your body in the shape of a star. Now, if you feel like this is a lot for your balance, to make it easier, you can bring your hands to a chair or to the wall. You can also keep your toes tapped down. So maybe the big toe taps down. Or you can stay in the balancing star. Just hold here. And as you breathe in this posture, feel that engagement in the hip of the lifted leg. Take just a couple more rounds of breath here. Feel that standing foot doing the work. And then I'm going to show you how to make it a little more dynamic if you'd like. If you don't want to let it be dynamic, you can stay here, or you can come back into mountain pose. To make it dynamic, as you inhale, you're going to come back into your balancing star, and then exhale, mountain. And then again, inhale, balancing star, exhale, mountain. Let's try that 3 more times. Inhale, balancing star, Exhale, mountain pose. We've got just a couple more. Move with your breath. Notice how it feels for the inner thighs when you lift that leg. And then exhale, bring it down. Keep those feet a little wider than hip distance. Maybe take a moment to just get re-grounded and distribute the weight equally between both legs. And then we'll try that on the other side. Now, before we come into the other side, let's talk about this. You might have already felt throughout one of these postures, or you might feel it now, that one side might be different than the other. And that's totally normal. Most of us have one side that just works differently than the other side, and that makes sense because our bodies are very asymmetrical in the way that we use them in our day. So if you come into this side and it feels a little different, just let it be what it is. This is where this side is today, so just work with the option that you feel best supported in. So to start, we'll just lean over into our foundational leg, and then we'll lift this foot. And then we'll lift the arms. So we've got our body in a star shape. Here we're gonna breathe. Pull your belly button into your spine. Press that standing foot down. Remember, if this is too much for you, your lifted foot can tap down to the mat. And also you can bring your hands to your hips. Okay, just a couple more breaths here. Feel it out. We know what our options are. We can take them at any point we need to. Always allowing yourself permission to modify. And then back to our mountain pose. So now we're gonna try it dynamic on this side. On an inhale breath, you're gonna open up to your balancing star, and then exhale, it's mountain pose. And again, inhale, balancing star, and then exhale, mountain pose. And we've got 3 more. Let yourself move at your pace. Notice how it feels to extend your limbs and feel the space around you. We've got just a couple more. Really work in those hips. Last one, you've got this. And then back to standing. Soften the knees, maybe take a couple little shakes here. Shake out the feet. All right, coming into our standing pigeon. Nice deep stretch for the hips. We've done this together before if you've been following with my courses. So you know that in the standing pigeon, we take one foot to lift, we rotate the knee out, we bring the ankle to the thigh, and then we sit back and reach the arms up. Now, as we're sitting back, we don't want that standing leg knee to come past the toes. Sometimes I see people leaning forward. We don't want to lean forward. We want to sit back, okay? So if that feels like, whoa, that's a lot to do, we've got the wall. So we can do that by positioning our hands to the wall, and then lifting the knee, rotating it out, ankle to the thigh. You might have to shift your hands over to get recentered. And then you sit back. And as you sit back, you might walk your hands down the wall. You might bring fingertips to the wall. You might leave the wall all together. You might fold a little deeper and take your hands down to the mat or to blocks. Okay, so that's going to be our option with the wall support. So no matter what level you are, you're going to be able to achieve this pose. For those of you that feel really great and stable in your balance today, you're going to take a more dynamic option. I'm really excited to show you what it is. It's that same movement, that same posture, but we're moving with the breath. So one side at a time. Hands to the hips. Let's inhale, lift the knee, position the ankle, reach the hands out, and then exhale, it's mountain. And then inhale, set it up, sit back, and exhale, mountain. Inhale, come into the standing pigeon, and then exhale, mountain pose. Continue on. We've got just one more on this side, and then it's mountain. Going dynamic on the other side, feet hip distance. Inhale, lift the knee, set it up, ankle to thigh, arms reach out, and then exhale, mountain. Inhale, come into it again, exhale, mountain. We've got 3 more. Feel the sensation as you move. Last one. Whew. Feels so good. All right, let yourself get a drink of water if you need to. Let yourself get re-grounded. We've got just one more standing balance pose for today. When you're ready, this pose is our dancer pose. So, to set it up, bring your feet to hip distance, bend one knee. Take the same side arm to reach for that foot. You will feel this in your quad and in your hamstring. Your other hand can be by your side or at your hip. When you look down, you want your knees to be in line with each other. Now you might stay here. If you want to go deeper, take your hand to the arch side of your foot. Reach your opposite hand forward, press your foot to your hand, and start to lean forward for your dancer pose. Now, if you're good here, stay like that. If not, we're gonna come to the wall. So one hand comes to the wall. Make sure that your arm is straight so that you've got some distance. Starting with feet at hip distance, bend your knee of the leg opposite the side of the hand that's at the wall. This is gonna free up your same side hand to hook onto your foot. Remember, take your hand to the arch side of the foot. Now, as you bend forward, your elbow at the wall is gonna bend because your body's gonna lean towards the wall. You might be able to bring that forearm to the wall. You might play around with taking fingertips to the wall. You might play around with moving your hand completely. But you know that as you come into this dancer pose and you lift your leg, you've got this support. You're not gonna fall forward on your face. You've got the wall here to support you. So there's your supported option. If you're working in the free space, let yourself explore how it feels to reach that hand forward, to press your foot to your hand, to open up. Now, if you've been working with one side, let's see how the opposite side feels. Come in the same way. When you're ready, take your time to hinge at the hips. You can look and gaze to the palm of your front hand. Keep pressing foot to hand. You can also make this easier by bringing your front hand to a chair in front of you. Keep pressing your standing foot into the ground and come out when you're ready. Take a deep breath. Close your eyes. Inhale through your nostrils. Exhale, open your mouth, let it go. Now keep your eyes closed. Feel the foundation at your feet. Reposition your feet back to hip distance. Keep the eyes closed. Create space between the teeth. Soften the jaw. Let your arms just dangle by your sides. Let the shoulders relax. So the shoulders are moving away from the ears. Feel really strong and grounded in this mountain pose. Continue to breathe. Give yourself this time with your breath. Eyes are closed, flutter them open. All right, we've got a bonus standing pose. I'm really excited to share this one with you. It's a standing twist, and twists are awesome because they help us detoxify. At the same time that we're detoxifying with a twist, we're also getting spinal mobility and we're practicing our balance. So this posture has a lot to offer. There's a lot happening in it. So to start, we're gonna start slowly. We'll take our hands to our hips. As we inhale, we'll lift one knee. And now as we exhale, let's take opposite hand to the thigh and then reach your arm back. Now, stay here in the twist. To make it easier, your back hand could be at the wall, or both of your hands can be at a chair. And just notice how this feels in your back. And then back to center. Foot comes down. Distribute the weight between both legs. Let's try that on the opposite side. So we'll inhale, knee up, and then we'll exhale, twist. So opposite hand comes to the outside of the thigh, and then we reach our arm back. Maybe we look back to our thumb. Maybe our hand is up against a wall. We just give ourselves time to notice how it feels to twist in this direction. And then we come out. Okay, so in doing that, we can do it just like we did in the free space. To make it easier, we can back ourselves up to the wall so that our back hand can connect to the wall, so that we lift and we twist, and as we're twisting, our hand is to the wall. To make it harder, let's make it dynamic. If you want to try this with me, we're going to do just like we did before, but we're going to continue to move and flow. Okay, so it's inhale, lift, and then exhale, arms come back. Okay, and then center. Inhale, lift, exhale, back, tap it down, lift it up, twist, back down, lift it up, twist. Let's try one more time. Lift the knee, twist, and then bring the foot down. Awesome. Let's try the other side. So we inhale, lift, exhale, twist, take it down. Inhale, lift the knee, exhale, twist the upper body, take it down, lift it up, twist. We've got just a couple more. Last time. And then take the foot down. Walk the feet wider, wiggle the hips, take circles, or maybe you're drawing the infinity symbol with the hips. Just take whatever movement you need to get the wiggles out. Maybe you even move your arms, maybe you come onto your toes and lift your heels. Maybe you roll the shoulders back. Just soften. All right, so we did a lot of work. We did a lot of activation. We really challenged the muscles in our legs. Our core was doing a lot of work for most of those postures, and you probably didn't even notice. So let's give ourselves some time to just relax it down. I'm gonna have you come on to your mat. You're gonna be laying in a reclined position on your mat, so you're not gonna see me in the video, but you will hear me because I'm gonna guide you through your relaxation process. So just find yourself in a reclined position. Take the time that you need to grab whatever props are gonna support you. Maybe you have a pillow or a bolster or blocks underneath your knees. Just find your version of Savasana. And as you come into your Savasana pose, tuck your chin towards your chest. Let your eyes close. Take an inhale through your nose, and then exhale, open your mouth, release. Let it go. Let's do that a couple more times. Inhale deeply through the nostrils. Exhale, open your mouth, let it go. And again. This time inhaling as much as you can all the way to the top of the breath. And as you exhale, let your entire body melt down. Good. Stay here. Give yourself all the permission you need to relax. Your body is completely grounded. Your body is supported. Feeling your body supported. Just relax. Continue to connect with that breath. Notice each inhalation and each exhalation. Practice slowing the breath as much as possible. Feel gratitude for the ability to have this time and safe space to let your body rest. And you're awake, you're not asleep, you're present with yourself. You're allowing your body to integrate the work that it's done. It's offering yourself this gift of relaxation. Knowing that you just practiced yoga poses that improve your balance, that build stability, endurance, and confidence all at the same time with the sequence that you can do anywhere. Know that this sequence is so beneficial because balance training can help build muscular endurance, increase flexibility, and of course improve balance. It helps to build confidence and quicken reaction time. And also offers us an opportunity to practice mindfulness and body awareness. You learn to breathe through something difficult or challenging, maintaining balance even when your world turns upside down. You've noticed that your balance differs day to day, and even minute to minute. So for best results, practice these poses regularly. Keep the postures safe. If you ever feel dizzy or faint, just give yourself a break, opt out. When you initially start the balance practice, remember you have the support of props like a chair, wall, or a solid surface. And by using those props, that'll help you gain confidence and feel comfortable adding the challenge of then leaving those props. The most important part is to learn how to smile as you wobble. When we wobble, that's our body telling us that we've come to our edge. We're growing a little outside of our comfort zone. We're getting stronger. We're improving with our continued practice. Remember, this sequence can be simple or it can be dynamic. This is up to you on any given day, depending on your needs. Bring your attention back to your breath. Feel gratitude knowing that the poses were stretching and strengthening the arches of your feet, ankles, legs, giving you a strong foundation. Strengthening the legs, hips, and core, finding stability. And strengthening the legs, glutes, and back. Standing strong in your foundation, in your own physical body. Strengthened your entire lower body and also got to incorporate some spinal mobility with the twisting. We were able to stretch our hip flexors, releasing anxiety and fear. The hip flexors, the part of the body where we store that emotion. And this is a time where that's a very real thing for us. And so we practice letting that go. And this practice is very much just as emotional and mental as it is physical. You did the work. Now enjoy your breath. Notice each inhale and each exhale. Deep inhale through the nostrils. As you exhale, open your mouth, let it go. Find gratitude for yourself as you close your practice today. I'm grateful for you for trusting me with your practice. Until next time, namaste.